Order and get started. Welcome, everyone. How's it going?
Good.
Great.
Welcome back. So we should probably start by welcoming Mary and Chris. I think Chris may have been at one meeting before.
Chris is welcome.
Mary's here for her as a return member, but for her first time with this group. So welcome. Welcome to the team. The first thing on the agenda for tonight is to approve the meeting minutes of August 15th. Do I have a motion for that? Thank you, Jim.
Second.
Thank you, Mo. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
Can I abstain, please? I wasn't here for that one.
Sure. Thank you. Okay. Accept the meeting minutes of November 12th for review.
So moved.
Thanks, Mo.
Second.
Thanks, Jim. I don't know if that was Jim or Chris or both. Chris?
Either way, we all said it.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay. All right. So the next thing is a vote to reorganize the board. We usually do this annually. I've been chair for a while. I'd like to stay on as chair if people are okay with that.
Yep.
I don't know. We have a motion for that.
I'd like to make a motion.
Go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion for you to be chair.
Okay. Any discussion or a second for that, I guess.
I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion on that?
Thank you.
I
Thank you.
suggested to Mr. Gagné a year ago that we should rotate the chair every 2 years. And I think it's time to do it.
Okay. Do you want to tell us about that?
It's what most committees do.
Okay.
It's only fair.
Is it in our bylaws?
No,
Doesn't it
I
have to
don't
be in the
think so.
bylaws? I mean, I remember from school committee it was in the bylaws, so.
Do we have
Yeah, but we
bylaws?
voted on it to make it in the bylaws
Right.
before you came on the school committee.
So there is no bylaw by town bylaw that mandates how long the chair sits in the chair position. So there is really about, and there's no rules and regulations for the finance committee itself. So it's up to the finance committee as to how it wants to handle it. So in some cases, for example, the Board of Selectmen have a culture where they normally rotate, although that's been a little bit different the last couple of years, but they normally rotate. But there are other committees, for example, the Zoning Board of Appeals and the Planning Board, it's been the same chair literally for 25 years. So every committee, it's up to them. And I know like for school committee, I think you guys rotated it. But again,
Every 2 years.
okay, so it's the culture of each board. There is no rule or regulation that mandates one way or the other. It's really whatever, it's your committee, it's however you want to handle it.
What's the water department?
The water department has not rotated. Don Azak was the chair for many years. Then when Rick got elected, he was chair for a couple of years, and then Art's been chair for a couple of years.
Yeah.
But they don't have a standing policy either.
I think the chair pretty much keeps things moving along smoothly. There isn't a lot after that I.
This is the hardest part of the whole job this year, this time of year.
What's that?
Budget season?
Budget season.
Mm-hmm.
It's really all we do.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say,
I'd like to
Just an
think
advisory
about
board.
it. I mean, I'm not in favor of it right now, but
I'm not either.
Okay. So we had a motion and we had a second. Do we want to vote on that or? All those
I'd
in,
like to move the vote.
okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Right, do I have Cheryl, Mo, Sue, and Chris? So that's 4. All those opposed?
No.
No.
Okay. All right, so I think that means I still stay on as chair, right?
Yep.
Okay, and then do we have a vice chair? I think Mo, you're currently the vice chair.
vice
Would you
chair
like to-
hasn't done a lot, but I mean, I'll be happy to continue unless there's objection to that.
Okay, I mean, I'll make a motion for Mo to stay on as vice chair. Any,
Second?
thanks, Sue. Discussion on that? Okay. take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay. And then I think Cheryl, you've been the clerk. I don't know how you're feeling about that. We still have Christine doing the minutes.
Yes.
Good.
I'm happy to serve if that's what the group wants.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion for Cheryl to be the clerk.
Moved.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? No? Okay, great. All right. And then the next thing on the agenda is for, I just wanted to kind of give an overview. We have 2 new members, although Mary's done it before. I think it's good to kind of go over and remind everybody anyways, that this process, the chairs of the departments come and they present their budgets to us, and we listen to what they have to present, and then we ask questions and try to find out additional information that will help the voters make their decisions at town meeting, help us understand what the departments are asking for, what their priorities are, how they're feeling about what they need. And then at the end of the process, after all of the presentations are done, we do take a vote as a group. David usually does a really nice job summarizing everything for us and putting it all together. And then, I think everybody knows we're just an advisory committee to the town meeting. And whatever we vote on and however we, we feel at the end of the day, we just need to be able to speak to that at town meeting if we're questioned by the voters on why we voted in a certain way. I think we just have to balance sort of representing the taxpayers and how much money the town's spending with what the departments need and the services that we provide. So I don't know if anybody has any questions or concerns or wants to say anything else about the committee or the role that we play or anything to add. Okay, great. So you're up.
All right.
Welcome.
Thank you.
I think if folks turn to their packet, they have the budget for Department 1450, which is the treasurer's.
Yep, so this is my treasurer collector department. I'll just go over everything that has increases on it. First line is the employed official, that's myself, 3% raise. The fiscal clerk is Allison, who just moved to the Council on Aging. That number there is what she was scheduled to make. The job posting has what she was at as the highest possible. So if anything won't go above that for any new hires we make, and I'd expect it to come in lower.
Oh, okay, so you're hiring for that position?
Yeah,
Okay.
it just got posted this week.
Oh, okay.
And she was due for a step raise also, so that's why it was 8% instead of just the 3.
Oh, I see, okay. So that's just a budget for that top that you would have to spend?
Yep.
Okay.
The assistant treasurer collector, assistant treasurer is Maureen, she's 3%, and delinquent tax collector is Jean, also at 3%. The longevity line, that includes me and Maureen's longevity increases. Mine went up at 15 years and hers at 25 years.
Oh, years, I can't
Yeah,
believe
15
it.
years.
Wow.
Yeah.
No way.
Congratulations.
I remember when you worked at Trukey's.
I know.
Sorry.
We'll take that out of the minutes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly.
Fast 15.
Well,
Congratulations.
congratulations.
Thank you.
That's amazing.
And congratulate Maureen on our behalf. That's a long time too.
25.
Then we go down to the banking lockbox service, requesting a $1,000 increase on that. That line is for the square fees that the town clerk uses. Mostly for the transfer station stickers, that's where she does most of her business. When they go up, I was still playing catch up a little bit the year before, when they went up to the 125. So I just need a little bit more just to offset the fees on that one.
Are those a percentage, right?
Yeah,
That's
it's
a
like
percent.
2.95, I think.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's pretty
That's not
standard.
bad.
And that's all, yeah, so every other online service in the town, the residents are paying the fees. This is the only one that we're paying the fees on.
Oh,
I'm not sure exactly why it was set up that way.
Mm.
That was what John and Annie did beforehand.
Okay.
They just keep the prices a little flatter.
Okay.
Then below that is the postage line, requesting increase of 2,500. If you look at FY '24, I almost hit 15,000 that year, which was what I had put in for FY '25. And as of the end of January, I'm already at 14,000 this year.
Yeah, well, the stamps went up, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
So I'm kind of always
We
chasing
must
that.
have a meter, right?
We
We have a
usually,
a
meter,
little bit
yeah.
of a
It's
discount?
reduced 3 or 4 cents per
Yeah.
stamp. I think it's at 69 cents right now.
But you have more households to send them to too, right?
Yeah, the excise tax bill just came in, that was 8,000 for an estimation.
a lot of registered mail too.
No, don't do too much of that. I'll do a little more this year with the tax title changes that they just implemented. We have to send out everything certified mail now, along with other fun regulations.
Do we have any opportunities to do that electronically, send out excise tax bills and things like that, or is that not really allowed? You know, like email
It'd be
or,
hard
I
to
don't know.
ensure everyone got one in the
Mm.
town, would be the problem, so.
Yeah.
Not
figuring out what the
everybody's
redundancies
electronically.
would be allowed. I think it is legally plausible, but I don't know how,
Operational.
yeah.
Okay.
We get enough complaints about them not getting the mail, you know, so. They
Yeah.
increase, well, we never got the email.
Yeah, I know in my role at work, people are complaining a
Yeah.
lot about postal deliveries.
It's tough.
Yeah.
And then I also requested a $250 increase in the office supplies line, and that's just a small bump for the increase of everything that's going up.
Okay. And the rest are all kind of flat.
Yep.
Okay. Any questions on this budget or anything anybody wants to chat about? No? Okay. Well, thank you.
The debt budgets.
Yep.
The first one up is the retirement of debt, it's 7,100. The first couple of debt lines are flat, just our regular, these are the long-term bonded payments that we have.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the same. The Title V line, we paid off one of the Title V loans, so that's why that $18,000 decrease is there. And then the bands are the short-term borrowing that we do. Requesting a $25,000 increase on that, and that's mostly just to cover the cost of the feasibility study repayment that's currently in the ban. We'll be getting some of that money reimbursed, probably about half of it, but we have to make payments on it until we get there.
Do we know when that's due in?
I just took it out last year, so I think it's a 5-year repayment on it.
Okay.
And then if something else happened with the school, it would get folded into the overall school payment and we'd bond it long term.
Okay.
How's our credit rating? Good, isn't it?
Yeah, it's been steady. We're at the second highest credit rating.
Excellent.
We haven't had a review on that in 4 years, I think. So the next time we go out for long term, we'll have a review on it.
Good.
We don't expect any
No.
issues with that now.
No, it wouldn't go down for any reason. We've been
Maybe
Really
really
good.
wise.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's the goal.
Yeah. Okay. Any questions on this budget? No? Interest on long-term debt?
Yep, this is the best budget because it goes down. So with the decrease in outstanding principal due, we have lower interest costs due. So that's the reason for the decreases in those two lines.
Nice.
That's- Those are the only changes there.
Any questions on this one?
No.
No? Okay, great. And short-term debt.
This is just the interest on the short-term borrowing. The current amount due for the loan we took out in November is $86,000. I'm requesting 100, and any extra money on that, I could pay down some other debt on the short-term borrowing also.
Is that less than a year? So
Yeah, those are
how you
one-year notes.
define
It's
it?
every November. That's, we do the short-term borrowing note.
Great.
Okay. Any questions on this budget? No? Well, you sailed right
That's
through.
it, yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Nice to
Thank
see you
Thank
again.
you, Scott. Have a good night.
You have a good night.
Thanks, Scott.
Bye.
Hope they're
Bye.
giving you cake for your anniversary. Thank you. Good to see you.
You too.
Phil? Great, come on up. or come on down, whichever. Do you want to introduce yourself? I think you're new to the committee.
Yes, my associate, of course, Dominic Melfi, been here about 6-7 months.
That
Oh,
long?
great.
Yeah. Time flies, yeah.
Well, welcome. We're happy to have you. You ready to go through your budget? Usually what we do is just kind of go through things that changed from one year to the next. If you can give us, any input that you have on the reason for the change, that's really helpful.
So I guess I'll start general and kind of work back.
Sure.
That's okay. So the salaries are down 1%. Contractually, they, of course, with the collective bargaining agreement, they go up 3%, but
Okay.
we budgeted one labor less than last year, from 10 to 9. It's working out well so far. We'll see how that goes. And,
So
it's
you've
working
reduced
over-
your staff by one?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Budgeted staff.
The budget stuff, we never hired the 10th person.
Oh, I see.
Oh, so you're not going to continue to try to hire?
We'll see how, wait and see.
Okay.
See how it goes.
I'm keeping up with everything.
Okay.
Just leave it. If not, I'll readdress it.
Okay. That's fair.
Thanks for clarifying.
Sure. Expenses overall up 2.4%. Basically 4 or 5 items that were adjusted either up or down, and primarily due to to be more in line with the fiscal 24 actuals. And then overall, the budget went down 0.2%.
We'd like to see.
Yeah. So I see like the heating fuel's up, but the electricity's down, but I know the electric rates were up, so did we just have a little bit extra in that budget that,
Again, I'll go back and look at the 24s, that's probably what I did.
okay, to look at the actuals? Okay.
And gasoline fill, is that plowing primarily? We didn't do as much plowing or,
So that's come down.
yeah?
It's mostly, I would think that's just price per gallon.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't bring it all the way down, just to kind of take it easy and bring it down a little bit, see how that goes.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I
sure.
didn't
Mhm.
want to overcompensate,
Yeah, right.
but bring it down a little bit for now and go from there.
Okay.
There's a couple of line items that weren't funded, tools and supplies that are now funded a little bit to get that started. That's actually a line we want to use.
Mm.
And also, summer help that was, there was a line that was there but not funded. So
Okay.
I think they're cracking, trying to hire a college-age kid or someone out of college for the summer. Be a good opportunity to get some, some labor at a decent price with no benefits.
Right.
And that would be like to help with mowing and things like that.
Yeah, mulching.
Right.
Okay. Any other questions on this budget?
Good job.
Excellent.
So the next two are pretty straightforward. Snow and ice, level funded, and street lights as well.
So, the snow we fund this way, that's the only budget we can go over, right? So we do this every year, same amount.
Yep, so
And then at the end, we adjust.
that's correct. So
Okay.
Phil recently sent me a letter to request deficit spending in this account for this current year. So we approved it. And then at the end of the year, you remember that you always do an end of year transfer for any budgets that go over. So that will be one of the budgets that will do that next July-ish or August.
Well, it's been pretty, light on snow and stuff this year, so maybe we'll be lucky.
Maybe
No?
not on
No?
Saturday night.
Yeah, this week doesn't look so
How's
good.
salt? Salt's still crazy price?
Um,
It isn't salt, I know, but
Well, it's a state bid, so it's the best price it can be. It's
yeah.
Consortium,
Yeah,
using more than salt right now.
Yeah.
I think we have a good,
Economies of scale.
we usually get a good stockpile ahead, right?
It was full yesterday,
Yeah.
banged into it a little bit today,
Yeah.
and this coming week.
Yeah, a
So,
little slick today.
bunch of events.
Okay. Any questions on that snow budget?
no.
And electricity, this is for the streetlights, right?
Correct, yeah. So that's level funded. You'll see from 24 actual is actually a little bit less,
Mhm.
but depending on development, there'll be streetlights added, so it's
Sure.
conservative.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. Okay, any questions on this budget?
No, but before you let him go, I just had one question on capital budget items, if there was anything you were putting in for that.
Still working on it, but there was a mower, and mower is looking to be replaced, a Kubota, 6-foot deck. The South Street Bridge, we're looking to get a $500,000 grant, which is looking really good. But the cost of the job is gonna be a little bit higher than that, so we may have to make up the difference with in some way, some source, whether it's town meeting article or other funds.
Right.
And looking at a couple of trucks, but it depends on how the other capital items line up, financially, with the guy who just left.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
I know we've bought quite a few trucks for the town over the, recent years.
Yeah.
Do you still have some old ones hanging around, or?
Yeah, there's a 2004 we're looking at. Yes, it's the last standard truck we have left. All
Mhm.
those are automatics.
Yeah.
Could it last another year? Yeah, it could, but depending on, looking at a 5-year capital plan,
Mhm.
not wait till everything dies and do it all
Correct,
at the same
yeah.
time. Just try to
Yeah.
get them off one by one.
Yeah, we've been pretty good about replacing
Like
things
the
over
cruisers,
time.
you just keep rolling them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, yeah. So depending on how the finances line up with other capital articles. So,
Okay.
Sure.
but I guess we'll fine tune that, pretty soon. As of March 1st, I think.
Yeah, so the,
Seventh.
so the capital budget articles or requests will be submitted to our office early March. And then, as you know, a couple of you have sat on that committee through the years, is that there'll be a capital budget committee that will review it. And then from there, we'll go to the selectmen, the selectmen agree that it goes to town meeting. But nobody's turned in their capital budget request yet because still a handful of weeks away before they do.
Right.
We're gonna talk about representation at our next meeting.
Yeah, we'll put it on the agenda.
Okay,
Level funded, is that the mandate this year, or the ask, however you wanna?
Was to do level services. So
level
recognizing that
services?
there's going to be salary increases during contracts,
Sure.
but not looking to add services, just a level service.
is that 3%, is that an estimate or is that final?
On which?
Well, this, like the standard increase.
The wage increase?
The wage increase, the
So-
standard.
So almost every single department head and collective bargaining agreement is 3%.
Mhm.
That is what it was across the board.
Okay,
The only difference is that on police, we were mandated to negotiate based on post requirements, which, if you recall, there was some changes at the state level in reference to police a handful of years ago. And as a result, they received either, in 2 years, they received 4% instead of 3. In 1 year, they received 4.5 instead of 3.
okay,
So it basically cost us 1.5. Other than that, they did their 3% like everybody else. All department heads, myself included, and collective bargaining agreements, everybody else is 3.
okay. That's helpful. Waste disposal, you doing that one too?
Once again, the first 3 items, 4 items are contractual, 3% increase, as George just said. The remainder is, the only significant adjustment was to the electricity, and once again, that's based on the 24 actual.
Hmm,
And so overall, that budget sits at 1% increase. However, the disposal and hauling fees are still being negotiated.
So
So-
we didn't have a contract on that? I thought it was multi-year.
Yep, so we signed a 10-year contract 10 years ago and it expired at the end of December.
Oh, wow.
So I've been in negotiations on that. We're in our 4th round. And the issue is that we did really good on our current contract. Not only did we get a 10-year contract, is that it didn't have an escalation clause in some of its aspects. So 10 years later, there was gonna be a substantial increase in some of those lines. So we've been negotiating it. We're very close to the end. That as soon as I'm done, I'll present it to the board for their approval and ratification, and then I'll backfill the appropriate numbers into that budget.
So, but I think it's fair to say there will be an increase there, right, of some sort.
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions on this budget? I think you're off the hook.
Good job,
Hopefully
Phil.
that wasn't too hard.
Nice to meet you all.
Nice
to meet you, Bill.
you. Thank you so much for coming.
Hope to see you back at the Capitol.
Yes.
Yes.
Indeed.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
I will, I'll text the chief.
Okay.
If you're ready, or if you want, I can do these and then other.
Yeah, why don't we do that? Yeah.
I'll text them.
You know the 3% that we tend to be across the board, is that comparable to surrounding towns, would you say, Dave? Or
Yes, yeah. I mean, there's variables, but I would say overall. You got 'em?
gonna say.
Is he here? Oh,
Oh, all right.
great.
Thank you. Yeah.
Hey there.
Hello.
Welcome. Yep, you're up
To sit here.
in the hot seat.
Oh, great.
That's the hot seat.
Welcome.
Good evening. How's everybody doing?
Excellent. How are you?
Thank you.
Nice
My
shoes.
shoe was untied, so I had to tie it before I came in.
Yeah.
Very
A lot of
shiny.
puff in there.
All right, bring mine down. You can shine them up for me.
They're very uncomfortable. So.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure.
Show all the girls.
Like
All
like the
All that
heels
matters
that
is
the
what it
women
looks
wear
like.
and then kick them off.
Yeah. That'll be me when I get home. It's been a long day.
I'm surprised they're so clean even coming in here. I have my snowshoes on.
Yeah.
I walk carefully.
Okay. All right. Wow. Take us through the budget,
All
please.
So, first line, 5111, appointed official, and 5112, clerical salaries. That is a 3% contractual increase, respectively, for each line. Permanent salaries, 5115. That is a 10.9% increase because I am requesting a new firefighter to add to the full-time ranks in the department. Currently, we are at 20 full-time members, so this would get us to 21, including not including myself, so I'd be number 22. Also within that, increases, contractual raises, step raises. I've been chief for 4 years, going on 4 years now, so we've hired about 5 or 6 full-time members due to replacements and additions, and we thank you for that. But those firefighters are now year 3, year 4, year 5.
Sure.
So on top of the COLA raises, they get an extra 5% for their step raises. And once they reach step 5, they hit a plateau for about 10 years. And then once they get to 10 and 15 years, they get additional raises after that. So that's what that encompasses in that increase.
And this new firefighter, if I recall, was sort of phased in. We
Correct.
did one a year for 3 years is
Yep.
what we had agreed to,
Correct,
right?
and that should get us to where we are at after this request.
Okay,
And so I'll move on to, if there's no other questions, I can move on to 5130 and kind of
sure.
lump that in.
Yep.
5130 is our overtime recall budget. That is when we summons people in off duty for station coverage, large incidents, storms. We also use it for court, training events, stuff like that. So like I said, for the last couple of years, as we grow the full-time ranks,
Mm-hmm.
we'll have a lesser need to request firefighters and part-time firefighters to come in off duty. So that's where we can save that
Great.
$20,000.
Yeah. So the net's cheaper.
Correct.
Yeah.
So I tried to realistically look at that, decrease it realistically about 20%. Moving forward, if there's going to be more cost savings, we'll absolutely look at that because, in my opinion, as chief, requiring people to come in off duty is impractical.
Mhm.
We don't know what they're doing. They could be busy with their families,
Yeah.
and it's not something that is safe for the public.
Mhm.
So having more firefighters on duty, able to handle the calls as they come in, has been a very big benefit to us because we are at 5 staffing now. And that's allowing us to get 2 ambulances out the door immediately without requesting anybody to come in from their home. We're able to send the fire truck with the ambulance for big accidents, actually all accidents now, and for large-scale incidents on Route 24, which usually it's always a large-scale incident when we go to Route 24. It also helps us benefit with all the commercial construction going on in the west side of town. With all the existing commercial buildings, we actually send 2 fire trucks to CO incidents, fire alarm incidents, so it gets more firefighters out the door, more firefighters on scene to mitigate whatever emergency happens. So that's that decrease in that line.
And how are the calls, like what volume?
Call volume has been steadily increasing the last 4 to 6 months. Our last month were well over 200 incidents in January, where our average before that was about 158, 160. I did the numbers today just so I could come in and give you like a hard cap.
And what's mostly driving that?
We're busy. It's
No,
just
I
a
mean, is
busy
it
town.
like car accidents? Is it like,
A lot of EMS calls. EMS calls are on the rise.
Been in my neighborhood several times.
Yep, we have 4 or 5 55 and older communities in town, which we're there a lot. Life Care is a big drive to that. Route 24 is a big drive to that. And a lot of fire alarm calls. Sprinkler activations, fire alarm calls in commercial buildings. Could be just a heat detector or a smoke detector going off. That is a false alarm, but if nobody's there, we don't know until we get there, and then we can reset the alarm and call the property owner.
Right.
That's mostly our calls, especially with the colder months. We get a little busier because now we're dealing with carbon monoxide incidents and people's carbon monoxide detectors. If they don't handle them and replace the batteries, they go off. So they call us and say their carbon monoxide detector's going off. And fortunate enough, most of the time it's not carbon monoxide, it's just a bad detector or a battery.
Yep.
So that's what drives the calls now.
okay, thank you.
5135 and 5139. 5135 is a 1.73% increase. That's due to the 3% COLA raises, just to keep us up to par with being able to cover the shifts for the holiday time for the firefighters. Each firefighter gets 13 holidays every year for their contract, so this is just to help with the COLA raises to keep those shifts covered. 5139 is also kind of along the lines of that as well, and it also lumps into, we have 1 Marine Corps vet on staff, and he has 1 more year with the Marine Corps, so that's just to help with the military coverage. So he's required to go to the military once a month on the weekend and two weeks during the summer, and that just helps with the coverage for that.
Right.
So this should be the last year for that, so which is good. Next line, 5207, software IT. We adopted the Permitize software for fire department for permitting, so that fee is $3,000 per year, but I do not requesting $3,000. I can handle the $2,676 increase.
What is it again?
Permitize, it's the online permitting software. So for smoke detector inspections, oil burner,
Okay.
what else we do, sprinkler work, any fire alarm work, it all goes online now rather than paper. It's very simple to use. We like it because we can, it's all online now, so it kind of takes away all the paper. And we schedule everything through a chat on that, and it's working out pretty well for us, so it's been a nice benefit.
Good.
And the last increase is 5590, uniforms and equipment, and that is just to, each firefighter is given a $1,250 equipment and clothing allowance for their uniforms and equipment to replace, or as a new firefighter, you know, they need new uniforms, they need new equipment, flashlights, gloves, hoods, and we just appointed a replacement firefighter in January. So that is just to help cover that.
Okay.
That would be it. I have 1 decrease in longevity that I did not highlight, but that's because our deputy chief retired recently. He had over 25 years on the job. So because that he retired, we don't have another firefighter that has over 25 years, so it kind of decreases a little bit in longevity.
Okay.
That's what that reflects.
So with the exception of the new person, it's flat.
Yes, sir.
Any questions, Ms. Budget? No?
Good job.
Great. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Nice to see you.
Thank you.
Me too.
Have a good night.
Have a good night.
a little icy out there, be careful.
I was gonna say the parking
I
lot's
found
very
that out
icy.
in the driveway.
We'll try not to call.
That's a definite goal of mine.
There goes over 200.
I know.
Now you just jinxed all of us.
I think you're up next with some of these.
I do. So,
Budgets, right?
yep, so as I do every year, I just handle all the small ones, especially the ones that do not have staff. 4 out of the 5 of these are external groups that we have funded for years. So I'll just run through them really quick because they're all level funded, they're all small. Agricultural Commission is obviously an internal committee, $600, that'll be level funded year over year. Women's Place Crisis Center, that'll be level funded at $27.50. BARC Bark out of Boston, Brockton, would be $250. Old Colony Hospice Care is $2,000, again, level funded year over year. And Plymouth County Extension Services is $200, same as last year as well.
That was fast. Any questions on these budgets?
I don't even know what the extension service is.
The Plymouth County
Hardly worth
Extension
asking.
Service?
They used to provide all kinds of information for farmer types.
Yeah, agricultural.
Yeah, and you know,
Like the
how
4-H.
to
Exactly.
can your green beans and stuff.
Yeah,
All right.
they probably still do that.
Yeah.
They do.
They do.
Okay. Any other questions? No? Well, that was easy. I think that was it. Next meeting is February 20th. Do you have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Nope. All
I
right.
have a new email.